My name is Lila Carter, and the story I'm about to tell you changed everything I thought I knew about life and death. If you had told me a year ago that I would have an encounter that would shatter my worldview and give me insights into the mysteries of the afterlife, I would have laughed it off. But that's exactly what happened to me one cold November evening. It began as an ordinary day. I was on my way home from work, driving along the familiar back roads of my small hometown. The sun was just starting to set, casting a warm golden glow over the fields and trees. I remember feeling a rare sense of peace, the kind that comes from knowing the workday is done and home is waiting for you. Then it happened. Out of nowhere, a deer darted onto the road. Instinctively, I swerved, losing control of my car. The last thing I remember before the crash was the sound of tires screeching and my heart pounding in my chest. When my car finally slammed into a tree, everything went black. What I didn't know at the time was that my heart had stopped beating for 7 minutes. The paramedics later told my family that I had no pulse and wasn't breathing when they arrived. For all intents and purposes, I was gone. But during those 7 minutes, something extraordinary happened, something I am compelled to share with you. The first thing I became aware of was an overwhelming sense of calm. The pain from the crash was gone, replaced by a feeling of lightness. I opened my eyes, or at least it felt like I did, and found myself standing outside my car looking at the wreckage. My body was still trapped inside, slumped over the steering wheel. I should have been horrified, but instead I felt detached, almost serene. Then I noticed the light. It started as a soft glow in the distance, barely brighter than a candle flame. But as I watched, it grew larger and brighter, radiating warmth and love. I felt an irresistible pull toward it, as though it were calling me home. As I moved closer to the light, I became aware of other presences around me. They were shadowy at first, like figures moving through a fog, but their energy was unmistakable. Pure, loving, and kind. I could hear faint whispers too, though I couldn't make out the words. It was as if these beings were welcoming me, reassuring me that I was safe. The closer I got to the light, the more I noticed that it wasn't just a single source. It seemed to be made up of countless smaller lights, each one unique yet part of a greater whole. Together they formed a shimmering, pulsating radiance that seemed alive. And then I saw him. Standing at the center of the light was a figure so radiant, so filled with love and compassion, that it took my breath away. Though I didn't recognize him in a physical sense, I knew instantly who he was. It was Jesus. His presence was unlike anything I had ever experienced, warm, reassuring, and infinitely loving. He didn't speak at first, but somehow I could feel his thoughts. It was as if he were communicating directly with my soul. He made me feel seen, known, and cherished in a way that I had never felt before. I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that I was standing in the presence of divine love. And then he spoke. "Lila," he said, his voice gentle but powerful. "You have questions, and I have answers. But first, there is something you must see." Before I could respond, the light around us began to shift. It was as if the entire scene was being transformed, and I was no longer standing by the wreckage of my car. Instead, I found myself in a vast, endless space filled with what looked like windows or portals. Each one seemed to open onto a different scene, a different reality. Jesus gestured toward one of the portals, and I stepped closer. What I saw left me speechless. Through the portal, I could see a bustling city, but it wasn't like any city I had ever known. The buildings shimmered with an ethereal glow, and the streets were filled with people. Or rather, souls. They moved with purpose, their faces serene and radiant. It was as if they were engaged in some kind of joyful work, though I couldn't quite tell what they were doing. "These are the departed," Jesus explained. "They are not idle, as some believe. They have roles to play, lessons to learn, and tasks to complete. Death is not an end, but a transformation, a continuation of the soul's journey." I stared in awe, unable to tear my eyes away from the scene. The souls moved with a sense of unity and purpose that was almost musical, like a symphony in perfect harmony. It was beautiful, but also deeply humbling. I had never imagined the afterlife could be so dynamic, so alive. As I watched, Jesus touched my shoulder, drawing my attention back to him. His expression was serious now, though still filled with love. "Lila," he said, "what you are seeing is only a glimpse. There is much more to understand, and your time here is limited. Are you ready to see more?" I nodded, my heart pounding with a mixture of anticipation and reverence. I didn't know what lay ahead, but I trusted him completely. With a wave of his hand, the scene before me began to dissolve, replaced by something even more extraordinary. I was about to embark on a journey that would change me forever, a journey into the mysteries of life, death, and the divine. As the shimmering scene of the celestial city faded, I found myself enveloped in a warm, golden light once more. Jesus stood beside me, his presence steady and comforting. I could feel the anticipation building within me as he gestured toward another portal that began to materialize in the space around us. "This," he said, "is where many souls begin their work after they pass from the earthly life." I stepped closer to the portal and peered in. What I saw was both surprising and deeply moving. It was a landscape of breathtaking beauty, with rolling meadows, sparkling rivers, and vibrant, colorful skies that seemed to hum with a subtle, harmonious energy. Scattered across this serene landscape were countless souls, each engaged in a specific task. Some were tending to gardens that seemed to grow with a brilliance beyond anything on earth. The flowers and plants radiated a light of their own, and I realized that these gardens were alive in a way I couldn't fully comprehend. Other souls were painting, sculpting, or creating music, their works infused with an otherworldly vibrancy. "What are they doing?" I asked, my voice filled with awe. "They are creating," Jesus replied. "Each soul carries within it a unique spark of the divine, a creative force that reflects the image of God. In this realm, they are free to express that creativity fully, without the limitations of the physical world. They are learning, growing, and contributing to the beauty of the universe." I watched in fascination as one Daswang soul, a woman with a radiant glow, knelt beside a patch of glowing flowers. As she worked, the flowers seemed to respond to her touch, growing taller and more vibrant with each passing moment. I could feel her joy, her sense of purpose, as if it were my own. But then Jesus pointed to another part of the scene, and my heart ached at what I saw. Some souls were gathered in small groups, their light dimmer than the others. They seemed troubled, their movements hesitant and uncertain. One soul, a young man, sat alone by a quiet stream, his head bowed as though in sorrow. "Why do they look so sad?" I asked, my voice trembling. "These are the souls who carry the weight of unfinished business," Jesus explained. "In life, they were burdened by guilt, regret, or pain they could not let go of. Here they are given the opportunity to confront those burdens, to find healing and peace. It is a necessary part of their journey." As I watched, one of the brighter souls approached the young man by the stream. She knelt beside him, her light enveloping him like a warm embrace. Slowly, his own light began to brighten, and his posture straightened. I realized that the brighter souls were helping the dimmer ones, guiding them toward healing and growth. "Even in the afterlife, we are connected," Jesus said. "No soul journeys alone. Just as love is the foundation of life, it is also the foundation of eternity. These souls are learning that, and through their work, they are preparing for the next stage of their existence." I turned to him, overwhelmed by the beauty and complexity of what I was seeing. "What is the next stage?" I asked. Jesus smiled gently. "You will see soon enough." With a wave of his hand, the scene in the portal dissolved, and we were once again surrounded by the golden light. This time, however, the light began to shift, forming into what looked like a vast library. The shelves stretched endlessly in every direction, filled with books that seemed to glow faintly. The air was thick with the scent of ancient parchment and the hum of quiet energy. "This is the Hall of Knowledge," Jesus said. "Here, souls come to learn, to seek understanding, and to expand their awareness of the universe and their place within it." I wandered among the shelves, running my fingers lightly over the spines of the books. Each one seemed to pulse with its own unique energy, as though it were alive. I picked up one of the books and opened it, only to find that its pages were blank. Confused, I looked up at Jesus. "They are not blank," he said, smiling. "They contain the wisdom of the ages, but it is not read with the eyes. It is felt, experienced, and understood on a deeper level. Try again." I closed my eyes and held the book to my chest. Instantly, a flood of images, emotions, and insights filled my mind. I saw the birth of stars, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the intricate web of connections that binds all living things together. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating, like glimpsing the infinite and knowing you are a part of it. As I placed the book back on the shelf, I noticed other souls moving through the library. Some were reading, others were meditating, and still others seemed to be engaged in deep discussions. There was a sense of quiet reverence in the air, as though everyone understood the sacredness of this place. "What are they learning?" I asked. "Everything," Jesus said simply. "Some are studying the events of their own lives, seeking to understand the lessons they were meant to learn. Others are exploring the mysteries of the universe, the nature of existence, and the essence of love. The pursuit of knowledge does not end with death. It is eternal, just as the soul is eternal." I stood in awe, trying to absorb the enormity of what he was telling me. This was not the static, unchanging afterlife I had imagined. It was dynamic, vibrant, and filled with purpose. As if sensing my thoughts, Jesus placed a hand on my shoulder. "The journey of the soul is one of endless growth and discovery. What you have seen here is only the beginning. Are you ready to see more?" I nodded, my heart swelling with gratitude and anticipation. I didn't know where he would take me next, but I trusted him completely. With a final glance at the library, I followed Jesus as the light around us began to shift once more, preparing to reveal the next stage of the journey. As the golden light shifted once again, I felt a sense of movement, as though we were traveling through space and time. Jesus walked beside me, his presence as steady and reassuring as ever. The air around us seemed to hum with an energy that was both vibrant and soothing. When the light finally settled, we stood in a place that defied description. Before us stretched a vast, shimmering web of light, its threads glowing with a brilliance that seemed to pulse in rhythm with an unseen heartbeat. The web extended in all directions, infinite and interconnected. Each thread intersected with countless others, creating a complex, dynamic tapestry that seemed alive with purpose. "This," Jesus said, gesturing toward the web, "is the fabric of existence. It connects every soul, every life, every moment across all dimensions of time and space." I stared in awe, trying to grasp the magnitude of what I was seeing. The web seemed to vibrate with an energy that was both powerful and gentle, as though it carried the very essence of creation. As I looked closer, I noticed that each thread was unique, glowing with its own color and intensity. Some threads were thick and radiant, while others were thin and faint, yet each one was an integral part of the whole. "What are the threads made of?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Love," Jesus replied simply. "Love is the force that binds the universe together. It is the essence of all creation, the energy that flows through every soul and every moment. Each thread represents a life, a connection, a relationship. Together they form the tapestry of existence." As I watched, the threads began to shift and move, their patterns constantly changing. I could see how one thread's vibration affected those around it, creating ripples that spread across the web. It was like watching a symphony unfold, each note perfectly harmonizing with the others. "You see," Jesus continued, "no soul is truly separate from another. Every action, every thought, every choice sends ripples across the web, influencing others in ways both seen and unseen. This is why love and forgiveness are so vital. They strengthen the connections, heal the wounds, and restore the harmony of the whole." His words struck a deep chord within me. I thought of the times in my life when I had held on to anger, resentment, or fear. How many threads had I strained or weakened through my choices? And yet, as I looked at the web, I realized that it was not fragile. It was resilient, capable of withstanding even the greatest of challenges. "Is the web ever broken?" I asked hesitantly. No, Jesus said, his voice filled with compassion. It can be strained, even damaged, by choices that are out of alignment with love, but it cannot be broken. The threads can always be repaired, the connections restored. That is the beauty of grace. As he spoke, I noticed certain threads beginning to glow brighter, their colors intensifying. I realized that these were moments of love, acts of kindness, and choices made with compassion. They strengthened the web, creating a ripple effect that spread far beyond their point of origin. I watched in wonder as one particularly vibrant thread pulsed with light, sending waves of energy across the web. I could see how it touched other threads, brightening them in turn. It was a visual representation of how a single act of love could transform the whole. Jesus turned to me, his expression both gentle and serious. Lila, the web is not only a reflection of the universe, it is a reflection of you. Every soul contributes to its beauty, its strength, and its harmony. Your choices matter more than you can imagine. His words filled me with both a sense of responsibility and hope. I realized that even the smallest act of love could have a profound impact, not just on the people around me, but on the entire tapestry of existence. As if sensing my thoughts, Jesus gestured toward the web, and a new scene began to unfold. I saw moments from my own life projected onto the threads, times when I had shown kindness, when I had forgiven someone, when I had chosen love over fear. Each moment glowed brightly, their light merging seamlessly with the rest of the web. But then I saw something else. There were darker threads, moments of anger, selfishness, or neglect. These threads were dimmer, their energy less vibrant. I felt a pang of guilt as I recognized them, but Jesus placed a hand on my shoulder, his gaze filled with understanding. "Do not dwell on the past," he said. "Every soul makes mistakes. What matters is what you choose to do moving forward. The web is always evolving, always offering opportunities for healing and growth." I nodded, feeling a surge of gratitude for his compassion. I knew that I could not change the past, but I could choose to live differently in the future, to strengthen the web through love, kindness, and forgiveness. As I stood there absorbing the lessons of the web, Jesus spoke again. "There is one more thing you must see before your time here is over. Are you ready?" I took a deep breath, my heart filled with a mixture of anticipation and reverence. "Yes," I said, "I'm ready." With a wave of his hand, the shimmering web began to fade, replaced by a new scene that would reveal even greater mysteries about the journey of the soul. The shimmering threads of the web dissolved into the golden light once more. Jesus stood beside me, his gaze steady and kind, as if preparing me for the final chapter of this extraordinary journey. The air around us felt charged, as though I was on the threshold of understanding something profound, something that had eluded me my entire life. "Lila," he said softly, "you have seen the creativity of the soul, the healing work of love, and the interconnectedness of all existence. Now, it is time for you to understand the purpose behind it all." Before I could respond, the light around us transformed. We were now standing on a high hill overlooking a vast, radiant landscape. It was unlike anything I had seen before, a fusion of Earth's beauty and the ethereal qualities of heaven. Rivers glowed with light, mountains shimmered with a golden hue, and the sky was alive with colors that defied description. In the center of this divine landscape stood a great, radiant tree. Its branches reached endlessly into the heavens, its roots delved deep into the ground, and its leaves shimmered as if made of pure light. I felt an inexplicable pull toward it, as though it held the answers to every question I had ever asked. "This," Jesus said, gesturing toward the tree, "is the tree of life. It represents the eternal connection between God, creation, and the soul." As I gazed at the tree, I began to see something extraordinary. Each leaf seemed to hold a story, a life, a soul, a moment in time. Some leaves glowed brightly, while others flickered faintly, yet each one was part of the greater whole. The branches intertwined in intricate patterns, creating a design so perfect, so harmonious that it brought tears to my eyes. "What is the purpose of it all?" I asked, my voice trembling with reverence. "Why do we live, love, and journey through so much joy and pain?" Jesus placed a hand on my shoulder, his expression filled with infinite compassion. "The purpose of life is to grow in love," he said, "to reflect the divine light that is within you and to share it with the world. Every soul is a unique expression of God's love, and each one contributes to the beauty of the whole." I let his words sink in, feeling their truth resonate deep within me. "But what about the pain, the loss, the mistakes we make?" I asked. "How do those fit into the purpose?" Jesus smiled gently. "Pain and loss are part of the journey, just as shadows are part of the light. They teach us empathy, resilience, and the value of love. Even mistakes are opportunities for growth. They are not failures, but lessons that guide the soul toward greater understanding and compassion." As he spoke, the tree seemed to respond, its leaves shimmering more brightly. I realized that each leaf, each soul, carried its own unique story of growth, struggle, and triumph. Together they formed a tapestry of infinite beauty and complexity, reflecting the boundless love of the Creator. "Look closer," Jesus said, gesturing toward the tree. I stepped forward, drawn to its radiant presence. As I peered into the branches, I saw scenes unfolding within the leaves, moments of love, forgiveness, and transformation. I saw parents comforting a child, friends reconciling after a long estrangement, strangers reaching out to help one another. Each act of love sent ripples through the tree, strengthening its light. But I also saw moments of pain, loss, anger, and heartbreak, yet even these were not wasted. I could see how they led to growth, how they inspired acts of courage and kindness, how they deepened the soul's capacity to love. "The purpose of life is not perfection," Jesus said. "It is growth. It is to learn how to love, even in the face of pain. It is to shine your light, even when the world seems dark. Every soul adds to the light of the tree, no matter how small or fleeting their contributions may seem." Tears streamed down my face as I listened. I thought of my own life, the joys, the sorrows, the moments I had cherished, and the ones I had wished to forget. For the first time, I saw them all as part of a greater whole, a journey that had shaped me into who I was. As if sensing my thoughts, Jesus spoke again. "Your life, Lila, is a gift, a chance to grow, to love, and to contribute to the beauty of creation. When your time on earth is done, your light will join the tree, adding to its eternal radiance." I turned to him, my heart overflowing with gratitude. "Thank you," I said, my voice trembling. "Thank you for showing me this." He smiled, his eyes filled with infinite love. "Your journey is not over, Lila. You still have work to do, love to give, and lessons to learn. But remember this, you are never alone. You are always connected to the divine, to the tree, and to the souls around you." With those words, the scene around us began to shift once more. The radiant tree faded, replaced by a soft golden light. I felt a gentle pull, as though I was being drawn back to my earthly life. But this time, I was not afraid. I carried with me the knowledge of the tree, the web, and the profound purpose of life. As the light grew brighter, Jesus spoke one final time. "Go back, Lila. Live with love, with purpose, and with the knowledge that you are part of something eternal." The next thing I knew, I was gasping for air, my body trembling as I woke in the hospital bed. The doctors and nurses rushed around me, their faces filled with relief. But I barely noticed them. My heart was still filled with the light, the love, and the lessons of the journey I had taken. From that day forward, I lived with a new sense of purpose. I saw every interaction, every challenge, and every moment as an opportunity to contribute to the beauty of the tree, to strengthen the web, and to reflect the divine light within me. Life, I realized, was not about avoiding pain or seeking perfection. It was about love, pure, boundless, and eternal love, and that, I knew, was the greatest truth of all. Thank you for watching and joining me on this incredible journey. I hope my story has touched your heart and opened your mind to the profound mysteries of life and beyond. If you found this inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe to Past Stories for more transformative experiences. Together, let's explore the lessons and love that connect us all. Share your thoughts or your own story in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious and stay connected.